This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, so here is what I believe is the answer to defend Tosfos from the Raya that the Rambam has cited by the Vilna Gaon. Again, the Rambam holds that we don't make another Shechianu during the day because the Shechianu in the night certainly covers it. As the Gra says, if the Shechianu of Asiyah Sukkah and Igud Lulav is effective for the performance of the mitzvah, then certainly the Shechianu we make at night should be effective for the Kriya during the day. So what's Tosfos going to answer? I would humbly suggest that even though the Gra says that Loi Gara, the Kriya of the night, then tying a lulav and building a sukkah, Tosfos would say that in fact it is Gara. How so? Why? I think it's clear. When it comes to building a sukkah, when it comes to tying a lulav, there is no mitzvah to build a sukkah and to tie a lulav. So Imkain, what is it? The answer is, it's the preparation of the mitzvah of sitting in the sukkah and taking the lulav. Oh, it's the preparation of the mitzvah. Then it's the haschala of that mitzvah. It's the beginning of that mitzvah. It's because it's not an actual mitzvah, and it's merely the preparation, so the actual mitzvah has already begun. So when you make the shechianu on the tying of the lulav or the building of the sukkah, that shechianu is connected to the performance of the mitzvah. You're not making it at the actual performance of the mitzvah, but you are making it at the haschala of the mitzvah. And the haschala begins when you begin to prepare for it. Namely, when you build the sukkah, when you tie the lulav. Mashenkein, the kriya of the night is a mitzvah b'fnei atzma. It's a separate mitzvah. It's not the haschala of the kriya during the day. And therefore, if you make a shechianu on the night mitzvah, the shechianu was chal on the first time of the year, you're mekayim the mitzvah of kriya delayla, but in no way is that shechianu going to cover the shechianu during the day. The Gra's argument was that if a shechianu works on building a sukkah or tying a lulav, which is not even a mitzvah, certainly it should work for the reading of the night. Well, you could counter-argue that there is a very clear distinction. Namely, when you build a sukkah and you tie a lulav, you're being maschil, you're beginning the actual performance of the mitzvah, as opposed to the kriya of the laila is mitzvah b'fnei atzma. So you'll ask, it's such a good distinction. Then what does the Rambam hold? The Gra wanted to substantiate the Rambam based on the Gemara in Sukkah on Daf Mem Vav, that the Shechianu on the Asiyas HaSukkah or the Igar HaLulav will cover the performance of the mitzvah, but it doesn't seem to be parallel. Possibly you could say, to explain the Rambam and the Gra's substantiation of the Rambam, is that there's a very interesting diuk in the Gemara. The Gemara says, Am Rabbi Shua ben Levi chayiv adam likros Megillah b'layla v'leshnoisa b'yoyim. The language of v'leshnoisa implies you're laning it during the day a second time. The emphasis that the laning of the day, although it might be primary, is the second time. What's this language? A second time. By the way, the Gemara even in the Havamina mistakenly thought Lishnoisa means not to read the Megillah, but rather to learn the Mishnayos. The Netziv writes in the Emek Shaila, on the Shiltas Samach Zayin Ois Yud Gimel, that the reading of the night, although not primary, was in order that the reading of the day would be a repetition, so that when you read it during the day, you're familiar with it, and you could delve deeper into it, and you could analyze it better, because this is already your second round. In other words, the reading of the day, in fact, is a hachana for the reading of the night. The reading of the night is a hachana for the reading of the day. So it could be the Rambam will say that the reading of the night, it in a way is parallel to Asiyas HaSukkah and Igud HaLulav, where the reading of the night is not Iker, but it's also a haschala of the mitzvah of Kriyas HaMegillah. Although it's a mitzvah b'fnei atzma, but the objective of the mitzvah of Kriya B'layla is to be proficient in the Megillah so that the Ikker reading is done in the best possible oifen. And in that case, the mitzvah of the night is not a standalone mitzvah, but you can make the case it's already a haschala of the Kriya D'Yayim. I thank everybody for participating in this Mishmar Shaila. I wish everybody a freilich in Purim, and we should all be zoicha, la Yehudim, haisa oira v'simcha, v'sasayin v'ikar.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.